Welcome, everybody. It's
Hello, everybody.
Louise.
It's Paleki, and welcome to episode number 4 of Pilu. And we appreciate it. And I'm having a visitor.
Oh,
Oh, Captain Jack had to say hi to everybody. All right. And thank you so much, everybody, firstly, for everybody that has been tuning in to the previous episodes, either downloading them on the podcast platforms or watching them on YouTube. We are very appreciative of you liking and sharing them for us so that other people can learn about the different teachings and topics that we have been going through. And again, every week we would love for you to tune in because we just sort of discuss a few minutes before we get started what we want to cover. And so this week, Lou and I decided that we want to talk about passions and how even the word passion can be a little daunting or overwhelming for some people when you are talking about your spiritual passion or your spiritual purpose, as it were. So, all right. So, hello, Miss Louise again. So,
good
we'll just jump
morning.
right in.
Yes.
We'll just jump right in because Lou and I were already talking about this. And I was saying, I find that there is a lot of the time, especially when you are, I don't want to say like pursuing your spirituality, but when a lot of people wake back up to their spiritual practice or back to their, their sort of spiritual side. And it's almost when you do that, you feel that there has to be a life change a lot of the time that goes along with that. So for many people, it's that they have to have a different job or they have to move or a different relationship and it gets a little overwhelming where people sometimes mix up that you can have a passion or a purpose but that other areas of your life don't need to change unless you want them to change.
Yes,
And
I agree.
that kind of goes back to last week, like we were discussing with that. How when you're are perceived that you're meant to be spiritual, that you're meant to act a certain way, be a certain way, kind of thing. Because as we've mentioned before, Lou and I actually have a lot of hobbies that we do outside of our spiritual practices. That's sort of just where our friendship has come from. And so I guess, Lou, what is your take? So let's sort of like start with a little area, then we can, I guess, branch off. So if I said to you, what is your passion? What would you say?
My my passion is right now at being turning 60 this year during
Hmm.
all of the chaos in the world is my health. My passion is my health and to be
Hmm.
well and everything at this moment. Since I was a little girl, I have to say that I've always drawn, I've always
Hmm.
doodled. I look back at scrapbooks or even school books in the corner of my, my scribbler and stuff. There would be doodling all the time. There would be these different designs and everything.
Hmm.
So that's something that's been with me since I was very, very young and continues to this day.
Perfect. Now, what if I said, what is your purpose? What would you say?
You know what? That's a loaded question. What is
And
my
that's a,
purpose?
it is
Like
because,
for
sorry,
me,
well, a lot of people think purpose and passion are meant to go hand in hand.
yeah. Well, for me, it doesn't.
Hmm.
Purpose. Yeah, it's loaded. It's a very and people put a lot of weight on the word purpose.
Hmm.
What is my purpose in life? There's even oracle cards
Yeah.
about purpose and everything like that. Um, it's not somebody else that's going to find that purpose for you.
Hmm.
It's not going to be in oracle cards or books or anything. You're going to have to find that yourself. For me, my purpose in life changed from the minute I was born
Yeah.
to when I got married, and then I had our son Michael. My purpose was to be the best mom possible, to be
Hmm.
the best parent. That has sort of thinned out a little bit
Hmm.
because our son is 27 years old, and I'm not waking up every morning to take care of him. So
Yes.
my purpose in life right now is a 3-year-old Bichon
Hmm.
Frise Shih Tzu named Napoleon.
Yeah.
That's my purpose. I wake up every morning, I feed him, I take him outside.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Um,
And I think that's good though, because you made a really good statement. My purpose has changed. And I think that's what a lot of people mix up when you have that thing again, even when spirituality is attached, that you're meant to have one single solitary purpose that is meant to be your thing for your entire life. or one single passion that is meant to be your thing. And we don't give that permission to change, with keeping in mind that as we grow spiritually or shift, our needs do change, our desires change, our wants change. And, I notice there's so many people who are scared to take on a passion or something they're interested in, because they then put the daunting task on that passion has to become their purpose.
Yes.
So like we'll use the art, because Lou and I are both artists in our backgrounds as well. So I know for me, when I do it, I got to a stage where art stopped being fun for me, because every painting I was doing had to have sort of like some deep rooted purpose. It had to have, and my purpose was to be a painter. My purpose was to be an artist. And it took the joy out of just creating the art for my own personal freedom and expression, to the point where I actually pulled back from painting for a very long time, because it would actually stress me before I even would start a work, because I was like, what's this piece going to create? Well, what's going to flow through, to the point where I didn't allow that to go, but I could still have that passion, but have a separate purpose, I guess, for what I wanted with the art. So the passion could be the creation. The purpose of the art could have been my healing.
Yes.
And that's what it was. I never looked at it that way. I was like, oh, my purpose is to be an artist. Therefore, if my purpose is to be an artist, I have to create art every day. I have to do this every day. If I'm not doing it every day, then I'm failing. If I failed at my purpose, then I'm not good at my passion. And then if I'm not good at my passion, maybe it's not really my passion. And then you get into that. And I know there's a lot of people that have that when they're trying to figure out, their goal. And one of the things I've always loved over the years with the readings, a lot of people, their angels will always say, don't pick a passion or purpose, just pick what you would like to try this year.
Yes. Yes.
And
Because Paul says that to me all the time. He says,
yeah,
can you just stick to one thing?
yeah,
And I said, you know what? Since I was a kid, I've always tried different things. What fills my heart and soul? What makes me happy that day?
yeah,
It could, when I was a kid, I used to put on pageants in our backyard, welcome the
yeah,
little girls from the neighborhood, and make sashes out of
yeah,
paper towel and the crowns out of foil paper. And my purpose was that day to empower these young girls and make them
yeah,
feel good about themselves, but it
yeah.
changed all the time throughout my life.
hmm And I mean, I think too, that's where it gets a little tricky, because same thing with spiritual practice. And again, if you go back over the last few videos where I was saying about how I was very staunch vegan at one point, and I've sort of let that slide a bit, at one time I'd cut out coffee, now I've gone back. I think with a lot of this stuff, soulmate can fall into that category too, because it's like
Yes.
that one person. And if you don't find that one person or that one right, perfect relationship, it's a failure or it's not good. And the problem is, because the same thing, you put so much pressure on that one thing having to sustain you. And a friend told me this, and it's not necessarily along in the spiritual veins like we were discussing, but I think it would fit into this topic, where she said, how could you be expected to pick what you were supposed to do with the rest of your life at 6 years old, when you didn't even know at 6 years old everything that would be available to you now? And
Exactly.
that always resonated with me, because I'm like, you know what, it's true, because now I say my passion is, well, I love my readings, like helping people is a passion to me, but also writing is a passion to me.
Yeah.
So for me, my purpose, I guess you could say, from that is helping where I can help, if that even means helping me where I can help myself. So for me, my writing, I find, is very healing for me, but I also love to use it to help other people, kind of thing. And that was something that really dawned on me, because at 6 years old, I don't even think I knew that, because I mean, at 6, I was going to be an actor. That was my thing, like, because I had seen movies. So I knew that was a job. You could do make believe, which I love doing. But I never
Yes.
knew that writing or being a reader could be a job. And
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. And that really stuck with me when she said that to me. How could you know then what you could even have available now? And I think a lot of people do get stuck with it. And like I said, I have with the painting, where it was like, I decided years ago I was going to do painting, and I was meant to be an artist. And it was almost like this rather than letting it just be something on the side that I enjoy doing, because it was a purpose, I had to almost make myself do it. I really had to like push it, until I finally said, I don't really know if I feel like doing that as much as I wanted to.
Right. Yeah. No, I
And I think,
agree.
and a lot of people do get stuck with that. I've seen it over the years. And I think too, with a lot of the spiritual stuff, it's almost, you're meant to have this clarity of the situation, or you're meant to have this like burning bush, as it were, of like, this is why you're here, focus on this and only this. And I think when you do it that way, it actually cuts out your potential for growth or for change.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I mean, and that being said, there are people that are very young and they know exactly what they want
Oh,
to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just know in
Hmm.
an instant. And they do. They pursue that, they pursue their passion, they pursue their purpose, and they do
Hmm.
very well in their lives. But the
Yeah.
majority of us,
Hmm.
we seek, we dive into this and we dive into
Yeah.
that and we try and we find out what, like I said, what makes our heart sing and
Yeah.
our soul's happy and stuff, and we'll be good for a little while and then it's like, well, I'm
Hmm.
bored. It's time to it's
But I
time to
think too,
change.
the one with the people, that find what they want to do as they're, younger, and they stay, they also just have a different set of lessons, and that's where you have to be careful. And again, like we mentioned last week, with the comparing yourself to where others are in their spiritual practice,
Yes.
I think
Yes.
if you go, well, this person found their, purpose, or they found their partner when they were 18, or if you do that, you're kind of going, well, their lessons should be my lessons, and that might not be what your soul wanted to take on or needed to do in this lifetime in order to help facilitate more growth or expansion in your soul consciousness. So there's this thing that I know for me personally, it's taken me a long time to be kind of like, maybe instead of trying to force myself, I can be a little more open to saying, okay, universe, what maybe could we do this week, or what can we do this month? What can we do this year? Because I find that is less daunting than going, I better pick one thing.
Yes.
Like, and I
Yeah.
mean, for me, I've been doing my readings now, gosh, over 15 years now that I've been doing them. And I mean, I still love doing them, but to say I'm going to do them for the next 40 years, I can't really say that. I'll do them as long as I love doing readings, and I think that's the thing with the universe, is because we get stuck on one thing, we don't always think that maybe the universe has something different waiting for us instead.
Mm. Well, we close
You
that
know,
door. We close that door,
we do,
right?
we do.
For the potential of other surprises around the
Hmm.
corner. And
Hmm.
that's in all aspects of life, in relationships and work and, in everything. So, I mean, I am blessed that I'm retired, that I can, dive into different things and
Yeah.
try to explore and discover new things about myself through these different passions
Mhm.
or modalities that I'm reading about, different modalities and things. But I'm happy in my little cocoon right now with shamanism and with
Yeah.
Reiki. I'm very passionate about that. That speaks to me.
Mhm.
And I teach online,
Yeah.
and that's working out really well. A lot of people have been in touch with me through the podcast, which
Yeah.
I'm really grateful about. And they wish to meet one-on-one. Well, at the moment, I'm not set up to meet anybody
Yeah.
one-on-one. So I tell them, we can talk via video chat and just get a
Yeah.
feel of what you wish to receive,
Yeah. What they're looking for.
as
Yeah. Yeah.
a service from me. So, how has it been with you with your job, with your readings and things during this time?
Oh, good, good. During COVID, well, I've always been able to, because I have clients from around the world. So I always have been able to offer clients video sessions. I'm always able to sort of kind of offer people that option. So mine didn't shift, but there are the people that love the one-on-one. So I've been able to stay with that. But I think I want to like, this is sort of a great example of the change, or allowing that change to happen as it needed to happen, because COVID-19 is such an unprecedented thing.
Mm.
And I know a lot of actual other healers in the community that their businesses have struggled because they weren't able to either adapt that quickly, or they chose not to, so things kind of went off, sort of off kilter or off balance. And I think that's a great example. I'm still passionate about the readings, so I found a way to work them into the situation. You're passionate with your healings, you found a way to make it work, with the COVID and that. But what I'm trying to say too is, it's kind of like saying to yourself, well, Lou, you're doing teaching now, so you better commit to it for the next 20 years. And,
Right.
you better, because I think if you lock it in that way, in such a rigid manner, you go, yeah, but you don't know what next year's going to bring.
Well, that's the
Like,
thing.
perfect example.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID this year and I mean, I know it was, built up in that, but for many people, it kind of did come out of the blue. The extreme nature of it and how so many things got affected and shut down and, closed and everything. And I think that's a great way to show that even if you have this set plan, sometimes the universe has something else, in store for you. And
Yes.
again, perfect example for me, even while COVID was going on, I had a lot of health issues come up where for
Yes.
almost 2 months I was basically lying on a couch that I could not really be able to do anything, or I really couldn't function. So that even though I could do the readings online, that put stuff on hold. So there was this thing for me where it really kind of showed me the universe will look after you no matter what the situation happens to arise, but you also have to be open to the change or the shift and allow them to help you. And I think that's where a lot of us get stuck when we go, but if this is my purpose, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to do it this way, and this is the only way, And I think if we get stuck like that, we do limit ourselves because, like with teaching, you couldn't do a class setup now, and unless you did it very differently. And for a shaman practice, if you're not aware of it, it's a very, very intimate gathering when you're getting people together in a circle and you're sharing and you're drumming and that, and you would kind of lose some of that connection if you're sort of trying to distance and you can't be around each other and you can't work on each other, their energetic properties. So for that, Lou, I mean, you changed your teachings now. You do your courses now
Yeah.
primarily online.
Yeah, I've been doing them online, and in March I started offering the drum journeying circles
Hmm.
which I was doing here in my space for
Yes,
many, many years.
which I've
And
attended and love.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and what's happened is that now we've got this little community online that we meet
Hmm.
once a month, every third Monday of the month, if you want
Yeah.
to get in touch with me. Um, and they love it. The people,
Hmm.
there's people from St. John, there's people from Woodstock, there's people from all over the province that join in with us,
Yeah.
and they like they said, we miss the physical, being together in a
Yeah.
circle, but they feel that this is giving them the same thing, that same,
Yeah.
it's a connection to community. That's what most of
Yes.
them are
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
They're happy that they're still connected to the community of journeyers, and that we're able to share our journeys, after we come back from our journey and stuff. And then when it comes to the courses, I was struggling with that. I was really struggling because I was from the old school of having it in person, and
Yeah.
people training with each other, and all this stuff. I don't teach all my courses online, but the beginners course I've been teaching it, and to great success. People are enjoying it. And then there's people, they say, well, I'll wait till
Yeah.
we can do it one-on-one. And that's perfectly fine. So I've had to change my, way of thinking,
Yes.
and saying, well, you know what? A lot of my teachers that I've, trained with have been doing it online for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I can do it too. And
Hmm.
it's working well. So I'm
Well, I
very,
mean,
very pleased.
for anyone who doesn't know your background, you trained with Sandra Ingerman. She's sort of one of the foremost shamanic teachers that are out there, kind of thing like that. She's got a lot of books out if you were interested in looking into her. But I know Sandra does. You were saying she does a lot of online teaching in that now too.
She does. She's doing a lot. And now, which I trained also with the Foundation for Shamanic Studies,
Yeah.
Dr. Michael Harner's foundation. Now they have opened up to have their teachers teach
Hmm.
online,
Hmm.
which is a big, big shift because they're very, very traditional in their teachings, in the shamanic teachings.
Yeah.
So, we have the ability to reach out to people that,
Yes.
especially at this time where a lot of people are struggling, reach out and offer these services
Yeah.
to them. And
But
but then
that also. Oh, sorry, Laura, cut you off
go
there. Can you
ahead.
go? No, no, I
Go.
was going to say just where you're mentioning that, a lot of people are offering it online now. I think that's a great thing to say to people that sometimes you can pursue a passion, even if you have other stuff that's keeping you busy in life and physically you can't make it there. There are so many great teaching opportunities now online. that you can
Yes.
find courses or find things, and I think that's what, people sometimes have to remember. You can start with a passion and you can turn that passion into a purpose or a career, but you don't have to do it overnight, which is what a lot of people think it is. Like when I open to my spiritual practice and it's going to fall in my lap and it's going to be there, kind of thing like that. And I mean, for your stuff, I mean, I'm trying to think of the amount, but I mean, you've been for like many years. Like you would take a course and a year or two would pass and you take another one. Like, because I mean, yours was like a very a long process as well to sort of get you,
Yeah.
the background that you have. And I
Yeah.
think that's a great thing to let people know, is that sometimes you can have something that starts as a baby passion, but you can build it into a bigger one. You start with a little smoke and then it turns into the fire. Not everything has to be so big like you see. And like you mentioned, a lot of those oracle cards are like, find your passion, find your purpose, find your soulmate. And that becomes for some people such a scary thing.
No, it is, and it does take time. I mean, I've been at this, and learning also, and
Mhm.
I've already found my next teacher. When this is all over, there I'll be traveling to Europe again,
Mhm.
and I'm always looking to not expand my practice, but to deepen it
Yes.
more,
Yeah.
and so therefore different teachers can bring that for you. There's a lot of amazing teachers out there in the world, and I'm one of those that's willing to travel to
Yeah.
to go and meet with them and
Yeah.
to learn from them. So, and I mean, Sandra's been doing this for over 40 years,
Yeah.
Sandra Ingerman, and a lot of teachers, like Dr. Harner, and there's Betsy Bergstrom, and there's a lot of amazing teachers out
Mhm.
there. It's for us to we can find them on YouTube now, and to
Yeah.
listen to them, and to get a feel
Yeah.
of if that fits your
Yeah,
energy.
and I mean, complete opposite side of the coin. Like Lou mentioned, she loves to travel. Myself, I'm not really a big traveler. I like traveling, but I'm a homebody traveler. I like to go and then come back to my house because I miss my cats, kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and for me, with my writing, like I've taken many writing courses over the years. I've taken a lot in Fredericton because it's easy, but a lot of the ones that I wanted that were in other places, the universe has sort of lined up for me to be able to take them online.
Mm.
And again, for me, again, like a perfect example, Louise is open to studying the different areas of shamanism. So if something presents, she'll think about taking a course. I'm open to the different areas, of my spiritual practice or the writing or something like that. And that's what we're trying to say. If you're a little bit open to it, it might not be exactly what you thought at first, because I mean, I was like gung ho, all my writing is fiction, and then I'm
Right.
working on nonfiction, and the nonfiction sort of kind of snuck in, until I sort of found something that I was like, oh, this is something I'd be very interested in writing in, but again, it's that back and forth where I think sometimes we also have to wait for the universe to align stuff in a way
Yes.
that it's like, it's not going to be daunting or overwhelming, so there's this, I don't, it's so hard to explain because again, you don't want to, diminish anyone or, not have people say you got to like pursue it, or look for something to bring you joy. But I guess for me, what I'm saying is, don't, if you can, get so rigid in it that if you start with something, like a perfect example, like I studied massage therapy as well. So I went to art school for 5 years, I studied
Mhm.
massage therapy. And for about 2 years after massage, I never did massage because the readings took over. But for about 2 years after, I just hung on to it because I was like, oh, I was meant to do it. I did it. I paid this money for it. And there was this thing. And then eventually one day I stopped and said, it served the purpose that it needed to serve. It was the passion at the time. It motivated me to show me that I could do something like that if I truly wanted to, but it wasn't my passion anymore after the readings had taken over and they became my passion. So that for me was one of those very hard things. And I think then that you and I were actually discussing that this week, where I'm doing a lot of shifting in my life at this stage. Like there's been a lot of changing, and I've been going back and reassessing some of the things I'm passionate about to see if I'm still as passionate about them today, or if I have an interest in them and that interest is holding me back from potentially moving forward into new passions.
Yeah. And you know what? All of this, we're talking about this, and we're sharing our, what we for us, what we feel is a
Yeah.
passion and our purpose.
Yeah.
It's scary. And we've talked about this word, risk. It's
Yeah,
to take that risk. You know, if we don't take that risk, we'll never know
it's
if it
true.
is going to be a purpose or a passion.
Well, I think one of the best things I ever learned, and I mean, I still struggle with the risk thing. I'm not going to lie on that one. But I think for me, what really kind of got in my head, because for anyone who doesn't follow my page or who might not know a little bit of my background, I also work with non-physical entities named Chandala that I channel. And Chandala has been very good in the teaching, in the sense that they've helped me understand that if I try for something and it doesn't work out, it's just the universe telling me there's something different that would be more beneficial for my growth lined up. And a lot of the time we take the failure or the perceived failure, because again, this is all illusionary based on how Chandela teaches, that we take this perceived failure as either we made a mess up or something was wrong, and it's like it's a punishment or something. And so when that happens, we actually internalize, and then the fear becomes a block to stop us from moving forward to trying anything new in the future.
Right. Yeah.
Same thing with partners. You have a bad relationship, you go, oh, they're going to be bad. When in reality, the universe literally might have been going, oh, honey, wrong person. Like, let's get them out of your way to make room for the better one. Because remember, the universe can see what you can't. So even if you have something that starts as a passion, it might be the stepping stone you need to get you to a greater passion. But if you stay
Yes.
stuck on that one thing, it
Mm.
doesn't let you move forward to a different one.
No, no, and we bring that self-doubt and we bring
Yeah.
that fear within us when it doesn't go right. Like you said, we say, oh, well, that didn't work out, so I'm
Hmm.
not going to try.
Yeah.
It's
And I mean,
it's
the reality is, and I've always loved this mentality, because again, it's something like I've read over the years, but also Chandel helped me understand it, where it's like, if you try, you're still going to die. If you don't try, you're still going to die. So
mhm.
it's kind of like one of those that you go, well, if you try and fail, you're still going to die. If you try and succeed, you're still going to die. So
Yeah.
their philosophy is like, one way or another, you're still going. If it's going to become a hindrance for you, and then if that becomes a lesson in and of itself, that's fine. But we have this thing where it's almost like we do believe that we have so much extra time, that we can keep going, and there's so many things. And COVID's a perfect example of how quickly something can shift. And
Yes.
for me, Lou knows this, again, like with my health and that. My sister passed a few years ago in a head-on collision. She was killed instantly, unfortunately, when the car impacted her. But she was 39, and this year I'm 39. So,
Yes.
I was saying it's not a surprise that my health triggered, and then all this stuff with COVID happened, and it really showed me, how my business could evolve and change, or how quickly things could shift. And I don't have the sense of like, oh, I have to get stuff done now, because of the sense of fear of, oh no, I could die tomorrow, because I'm not scared to die, but more from the sense of, I was like, whether I sit on the couch and worry about it or not, life is still going to happen. So I might as well be trying to do something that I at least enjoy doing,
Yes.
rather than sitting here waiting, stressing, or worrying about what could happen if I don't attempt it.
Yeah. That's yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. That life is, and I mean, again, that's a choice. That's a choice in
Yeah.
a human's life. If you want to sit there and
But
think
you know
about,
what? That too is a beautiful choice. If you want to stay stuck in that moment, that also is a beautiful lesson. It's just a different lesson. But I
mhm,
think one of the bigger things for me that I really had to sit down with, and again, everybody's life situation is different. So please don't
yeah,
think when I'm saying something that it applies to, blanket statement, you can do the same. For me, I'm fortunate that I'm allowed, a little bit more freedom to sit down and think about stuff, because I don't have children that I need to look after. I don't have a partner, that I have to sort of factor into my decisions and that. So I have a bit more freedom in that I can go, oh, let's try this, or, go see this or do this. So, but I think for me, what it really showed me is the universe is willing to help me if I'm willing to ask for the help.
yes, yes,
And I think there's a difference, and I had to learn the difference between getting angry, begging them, screaming at them for not listening, and going, oh, okay, I'm bored, what's next?
yeah,
And I think that, no, really, that took me a very long time, because for many years it would be like, I want to do it this way, or I'm trying to do this, and the universe would be like, timing's not right, this isn't meant to be right now. And you see it as a failure or a daunting thing. And then I look back at now over some of these situations, relationships, everything, and I go, Oh, the universe knew way better than I did at that time. They were, doing this protection for me. They were actually getting me through stuff I couldn't see in that moment. And I think that's where I still struggle with this. I mean, I'm human, anybody who has their human side,
Yes.
where I
Yes.
still want to have my control, where I'm like, I'm responsible for working on this. And, there's also this other side where I want to trust the universe. And I was telling you about this the other day, Lou, and we got to keep a watch on the time. I'm sorry, we did ramble last week, so
That's fine. We're at 43 minutes. We're good.
Oh, okay, we're good. So we'll just do this one quick. We when we first started, we were like, guys, we're gonna keep these to 20 minutes for you because they're manageable. I told you, when you've known somebody this long, you tend to just go into your normal conversation. So welcome in. You're a part of our conversation.
Yes.
You're sitting in the
Welcome.
living room with us. Grab a cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I listened to this wonderful thing from Hay House Publishing. They're a large spiritual publisher, and Caroline Mize. She writes these beautiful books on spirituality, and she did have one with prayer. And she said the way she factored in, and it was something that really clicked for me and resonated with me. She said, we pray for God to fix things, but we don't pray for God to show us how to fix the things.
Exactly.
And she said that's where we can get stuck, because you do go into this fear pattern of like, oh God. And it really kind of stuck with me, because I'm like, that helps me, because again, I still have that little bit of control for me. But they really did have this thing where I sat down with the universe and I said, it's right, because when you're in a turmoil or you're going through something, you go, God, universe, help me, get me through it. But we don't very often stop and go, show me what I need to do to work through it.
Yes.
Because I think that's different. And again, I love that way of looking at it, because that is very empowering.
Yeah.
Because again, that
Yeah.
gives you back your energy, gives you back your passion there, kind of thing for it. And I think too, that can be a great way for anybody who's looking for some way to word it. If you're, however you do, whether it's prayer or meditation or your connection, speaking to your guides, whatever it is, maybe if you're going through the same thing, like where you're struggling, for the purpose, a passion, kind of stuff that we've been chatting about today, maybe instead of saying, what is my purpose? You can say, help me see what I need to see to find my purpose.
Perfect.
Help me see what I need to see to find that passion, because that way it's different too. And then that means your soul's not only giving consent, but it's also now actively participating in your avenue for change.
Like for me, with my practice in shamanism, when you're journeying with your compassionate allies,
Yeah,
that's what your intention is, okay, you're bringing this conversation, like, let's say, for example, I remember one of my first journeys was, compassionate spirits, I'm tired all the time. I'm exhausted. I'd like you, to show me in a direct revelation, in a metaphoric way, what this looks like.
What's going on?
What does represent. So again, you use your senses, your hearing, your sight, your sense of smell, your knowing, everything, right? So you're in your journey, you're hearing the drumming. All of a sudden, I see my compassionate helping ally show me a chicken in a field with its head cut off.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm French. I didn't know the analogy or the metaphor of the chicken with its head cut off.
Oh, running around.
My brain, my young brain goes back to my grandfather, who was a butcher.
Oh, yeah.
Chopping the head off and seeing the chicken run around until, it bled out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they show me a chicken with its head cut off? That doesn't tell me why I'm tired. Like, I'm trying to find the source of why I'm tired. So this journey continued. They would show me a chicken in a different field, same analogy, same metaphor. And I'm like, And I'm journaling and everything. So one day my husband is seeing me sort of being pensive, and he said, what's going on? I said, well, I journeyed to my compassionate allies, and they showed me a chicken with its head cut off. He said, well, what was your question? What was your intention? I said, to find out the source of me being tired.
Yeah.
And he looked, oh, you don't get that? And I'm like, well, no. And I explained about my grandfather and everything. And he said, well, you have too many things on the go. That's something that we say, oh, you're like a chicken with its head cut off. You're just running around, and then you're spending your energy and stuff. And I went, oh, shit. Like, really? Is that
what? But that's a perfect example, because again, you can get a vision or clue from the universe, but it doesn't always make sense until your spirit's ready to process. So you were probably given that one to, think about, percolate on for a little bit, and then when your soul was like, okay, what actually is it? And I'm ready to hear that and process that. Then Paul was able to step in, and give you that clarity on it. But I've seen that so many times, and that's what we want to say to people too. And that's a great example. Sometimes the answer that you're looking for is not as clear as you think it's going to be, because sometimes your soul knows what it is, but it's still working through it or processing it until it's ready to actually receive the information on what that is. And I think that's a great sort of way to break it down. And just keeping in mind in our time kind of thing like that, I think we should final thought on passion and purpose.
For me, it changes all the time. It's something that's fluid. It's fluid and it's endless. So there's an endless possibility of passions and of purposes in one's life until we take our last breath. Perfect. So why sit on our keister when there's a lot of stuff that we can discover to be passionate and to be purposeful about?
Perfect. And I will say, your purpose is to be a human and to learn, and you were doing it perfectly. And from that purpose, which you were already doing just by existing as a human, whether you're following that, by taking the pressure off of yourself to find your purpose, you can then open up your spirit to see what it would like to attempt to see if it can find many and multiple passions while it is living its human purpose.
Oh my gosh, that's so deep.
Lovely, right? Thanks, Sharella. Perfect. All right. Well, with that, my friends, thank you so much once again for tuning in for this week's episode. We truly do appreciate it. And again, if you were interested in following us, all of our social media links are either down on the podcast platform or on the YouTube channel below. And please remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Spiritual Medium Paleki is where we're uploading Pilu until we figure that out. Also, the podcast, you can like and follow that one under P-Lou or P-Lou. We still haven't got every platform figured out. I'm still struggling with Apple, but we'll try get it up. But it's definitely on Podbean and Google. It should be up on Google by now. I've been trying to sort of sort that out because we got the confirmation stuff. But this is the extent of Lou and mine's techie abilities. So.
Yes, and also share, because a lot of people have been sending me messages and said, "Can we share this?" And I'm like, "Yes, please."
Oh yes, please do. If you are listening to any of the videos or anything you see on any of our social media pages, Instagram or anything as well, again, everything will be posted below the video for you to find us. Please do make sure you like and share anything, or even put in your comments. We'd love to read what you think about the videos, if there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover, anything like that. So this is really, you're a part of our conversation, and we want to engage with you in it, because this is Lou and I chatting, and it's kind of like you're our third friend sitting in there, and we'd love to also hear your opinion on everything. So thank you so much again, everybody, for tuning in with us. We appreciate it again, and we will see you next week on Pilu. So take care. God bless.
Bye. Bye, P.
Love you. Bye.